Today on the Morning Edition, the death toll continues to rise in Texas after the weekend's flash flooding. Details on the ongoing search and rescue effort. Plus, wildfire activity picks up here at home as Alaska moves to its highest preparedness level. We'll have the latest on fires burning across the state and 3 in Anchorage that popped up over the weekend. And later, eyes on the skies led to confusion and concern as a strange and unique formation caused some residents in the Atlanta area to sound the alarm. Is it a cloud or a tornado? As the Morning Edition starts now, good Monday morning, everyone. We hope you had a fabulous holiday weekend. We've got Tracy Sinclair in for Aaron today. I don't know. What do you think? Do you have an opinion on that
aliens?
Cloud formation?
Aliens?
Of course, it's always aliens, right?
Yeah. That looked like aliens coming down. Yeah. No, I am fascinated a little bit by that. And we had a pretty good weekend weather-wise.
Yeah.
It is going to be
nice.
A little bit cooler today. Now, into the interior, that's good news. Those cooler temperatures will help with the fire danger. Drop that down a little bit. We do have a number of red flag warnings still, but we also are seeing some of those start to expire. So here's what we've got in the Anchorage area right now. 57 degrees, winds coming out of the south-southeast to about 15 miles per hour, but we have had a wind gust to 28 in the last couple of hours. So just kind of be prepared. Those aren't dangerous winds, but they are noticeable. You do actually kind of think about, hey, it is a little bit windy out here. Into the interior, I first put this on and thought, is it snow on there? No, this is just the fog and the haze that we're seeing in the interior, expecting pretty much we're seeing that haze coming through not only the interior, but across much of west and southwest Alaska, seeing some of that haze as well. 56 degrees this hour around the Fairbanks area. Into the Anchorage area, we're at 48 at the Campbell Creek Science Center, 56 for you at Merrill Field here at the station as well, 48 around the New Seward and Huffman area. So let's talk a little bit about that. We are continuing to see that lightning continuing into the interior for this morning. A number of lightning strikes already for today. You can see those storms popping up. And while we did have those heat advisories, those expired last night. So that's some good news. But we are still dealing with red flag warnings in the area under this pink. So that goes from the interior very close to the Seward Peninsula. So we are looking at still high danger in some of these areas. This is if a fire starts. It could spread quickly because of those winds. Now here in South Central, seeing a little bit of rain moving through the valley, likely along the highway. So you're expecting to see at least a few showers coming through this morning.
There was so much screaming.
This morning, harrowing stories are emerging from survivors of the deadly flash flooding in central Texas over the weekend as the death toll rises now to over 80. Officials say there have been more than 160 rescues by helicopter, and search and rescue teams and hundreds of volunteers are combing the banks of the Guadalupe River. There are 68 people who have been found dead in Kerr County alone. 28 of them are children. Many of those children are believed to be young girls from Camp Mystic. An 11-year-old from San Diego is speaking out after surviving the catastrophic flood. Kalen Cabina says he is grateful to be home safe with his family, but worried about the others still missing.
Some counselor from the other rooms which got flooded came into our cabin and said there was a flash flood. Now, we didn't actually know those because we were higher up, like more elevated. But eventually we looked outside and we just saw like an ocean out there. It's just like completely destroying everything. We saw like whole cabin just floating down, and that's when we knew things were getting actually real out there. Like we were starting to realize that this was a real natural disaster crisis.
The National Weather Service says Central Texas is still under threat of more flash flooding as slow-moving thunderstorms travel through the area this week. The Trump administration is applying what it calls maximum pressure on countries to reach a deal on trade. Overnight, President Trump said he's sending letters to dozens of countries, rolling out his so-called reciprocal tariffs August 1st. The president is also set to meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House. Bradley Blackburn is tracking the latest.
President Donald Trump returned to Washington Sunday ahead of a week focused on foreign policy and trade. Before a meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu Monday, the president said he's optimistic about reaching an agreement with Hamas to release remaining hostages in Gaza.
I think there's a good chance we have a deal with Hamas during the coming week, pertaining to quite a few of the hostages. Yeah.
Peace talks with Hamas are resuming in Qatar today that could lead to a 60-day ceasefire in Gaza. The president also promised new deals with dozens of countries on trade. The Trump administration is sending out letters threatening steep tariffs on their goods if they don't reach a deal with the U.S. The so-called reciprocal tariffs have been paused since Trump announced them months ago.
Our smaller trading partners could become much bigger trading partners. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why countries are racing to set deals up with us ahead of the deadline.
The White House has an initial deal in place with a handful of nations, including the United Kingdom, China, and Vietnam. Other major trading partners like Japan, India, and the European Union have started talks, but not reached a final deal.
I think we'll have most countries done by July 9th, yeah. Either a letter or a deal.
Tariffs go into effect August 1st, but the president is setting the rates and the deals right now.
The president said letters will be delivered at noon today. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Trump administration officials have suggested they are focused on securing deals with more than a dozen key trading partners that account for the vast majority of the U.S. trade deficit. A little more than 520,000 acres have burned across our state so far this wildfire season, with more than 215 fires currently burning. 29 of those are staffed. This as Alaska moves to its highest preparedness level. A preparedness level 5 allows the state to tap into more resources to help battle the fires. These resources include cooperative agreements with states from the lower 48 to get crews and equipment. One of those fires getting outside help is the Himalaya fire. The fight against that fire went well over the weekend despite resources being stretched. Complex Public Information Officer for the Southwest Interagency Team 3, Francesca Baca, said crews there have faced some tough challenges.
The big challenge that a lot of operations folks have had is in the black spruce and the tundra. It's very thick in there. So depending on the weather, it's been new smokes pop up pretty sporadically, and we've been a little short resources. So we've been getting resources, but it's just really difficult to contain these lines due to we've had a 96-hour burn period with hot, dry, and windy conditions.
Baca said as the weather turns cooler with rainfall, firefighters will hopefully be able to get a bit more containment on these fires. And the Division of Forestry is also encouraging everyone to help mitigate human-started wildfires by keeping up to date on burn suspension notices across the state. And in the Anchorage area, the fire department has responded to 3 out-of-control brush fires between Saturday and Sunday. One was right off the Glen Highway near Chugiak. It was called in around 8 p.m. Saturday. AFD's Wildfire Division Chief John Glover said the fire was about a quarter of a mile off the highway and was a little less than 9,000 square feet. He says Anchorage, Chugiak, and the Division of Forestry all showed up to help fight the flames, while APD helped get traffic diverted. The other 2 were in Campbell Park near MLK and Elmore, which is the same part of the city as the 2019 MLK fire and 2022 Elmore fire. He says the State of Alaska Division of Forestry helped with all 3 calls, and firefighters got the flames under control pretty quickly. Glover says the MLK and Elmore area is a receptive location to get a wildland fire.
The fuels associated with that area are quite challenging. A lot of heavy grass component mixed with black spruce. Black spruce is one of the most volatile fuels in the state of Alaska. So anytime that we have a fire within an area like that with fuels like that, it has significant potential to be a fire of longevity and a lot of activity.
Glover says AFD usually responds to a couple dozen fires in that area each year, but they aren't all of significant size and scope. In Hawaii, a brush fire on Oahu's west side prompted evacuations in the area. According to officials, the fire is now 20% contained. The fire was first reported around 2:30 p.m. on Sunday. Officials say active evacuations are no longer taking place. However, several roads in the area remain closed. Hawaii News Now reports one 94-year-old woman suffered smoke inhalation and second-degree burns. Officials said that 4 other individuals were evaluated for smoke inhalation but refused further treatment. At this time, 2 homes have been impacted by the blaze. The cause of the fire has not yet been determined. Coming up, one of Alaska's many unique 4th of July traditions saw 2 repeat victories. We'll relive the excitement from this year's Mountain Marathon race in Seward next.
And we've got a chance to see a few showers in the Anchorage area, into the valleys as well. We're going to talk about the high water near the Matanuska River. All that's coming up next.
Welcome back. Taking a look at Brooks Falls at Katmai National Park this morning. And this is exciting. We have a bear and a ton of fish jumping in the falls, which we haven't really seen much of the bears out this season so far, Tracy. So this is pretty exciting to see.
It is. Those are some eager fish, man. That is a fantastic. Not a lot of them seem to be making it, but
yeah, I wonder what this bear is waiting for. Maybe it's already full.
Yeah, turn around, buddy. They're all right there. He's like, no.
Pretty cool.
Anyway, yeah, that would be very cool to see one of these days. Let's talk a little bit about those fires. I know you mentioned them just a little bit ago. These are our current numbers. More than 500,000 acres burned so far. And if I'm correct, if my math is correct, we jumped about 80,000 acres in at least the last weekend. So still expanding pretty fast. We do have some active fires, 219, 9 new fires, and 29 of those at this point are staffed. Well, this is the smoke forecast for the next couple of days. Most of it is going to be across the interior, moving a little bit to the east, but Fairbanks is really the place today in particular, seeing some heavier smoke. But you can see that smoke, at least some light smoke and haze extending all the way down to southwest Alaska. Parts of south central also expected to be slightly influenced by that smoke as well, all coming from many of those fires into the interior. We do have, as I said, still some lightning and thunder. We often think about that as afternoon and evening thunderstorms. Well, these are sticking around. This is some instability in the atmosphere across the interior, and we do have that red flag warning that is remaining in place. Again, this is when we're talking about if a fire starts, it could spread rapidly. That's typically low humidity levels, and we also have the good possibility of some stronger winds coming through. Now, in southeast today, you get a bit of a break from the rain. Not much. You'll still see some showers in much of the central and southern interior, but not quite as heavy as you're expecting starting up again tomorrow. We've got a new system moving into the Gulf of Alaska. Over the next couple of days, though, we do see some cooler temperatures. This is what we've been seeing, that gradual warming that has moved through. But you start to see a little bit cooler temperatures creeping in from above, those greens and yellows. So at least northern Alaska for today, getting to be a little bit cooler. Also down here in the southern portion, we're also going to see some cooler temperatures. This is what we're looking at. There's that little bit of rain that's moving through the Matsu valleys all the way around Anchorage. And I was saying the Matanuska River is running high. So if you are recreating or you're out working along the river, please be aware of that. Not expected flood stage at this point, and they haven't seen any additional erosion, but the river is running high. Over the next 3 days, really we see a little bit of rain this morning. Then we're going to see some scattered showers into the interior. But later on tonight, you can see some of that heavier rain moving through southeast. Then we got our next system starting to swing through the southern areas of southwest Alaska. We'll see some spotty sunshine coming through, at least some clear skies. Western Alaska, you've got some sunshine, and that's going to stick around today. But as we do get into Wednesday, that front starts to swing into the Gulf and moving through towards southeast Alaska. This is what we're expecting. The forecast for the south central area, just a little bit of a chance of rain, about a 1/4 inch of rain between now and Wednesday morning. And then in southeast Alaska, also looking for some higher amounts of rain by tonight. You could see about 1 inch of rain coming through. And moving a little farther forward, we're going to see those amounts elevate, particularly around Petersburg, almost 2 inches of rain coming through. Quick look at our Anchorage forecast here. Cooler today, only a high of about 60 degrees, but 65 into the mid to low 60s. And then in the interior areas, again, a little bit cooler over this week, which is actually good news because, Kristen, yeah, it was just so hot and dry. Not seeing a lot of rain coming through, but we are at least seeing those cooler temperatures.
Very nice. We'll take it. Thanks, Tracy. In case you missed it, the latest running of one of Alaska's most iconic sporting events was as exciting as ever. Jordan Rodenberger and Tyler Lane have a recap of this year's Mount Marathon from Seward.
Well, Seward may be a small town, but it just put on a big event. The 97th edition of Mount Marathon just wrapping up after some incredible finishes.
Yeah, it's really a unique race and a unique place as we're at the base of Mount Marathon, going 3,000 feet up in elevation. And I could probably tell 3,000 different stories here today, but we'll just tell a few of them, starting with the junior race, which really sets the tone for the rest of the day.
Yeah, no, it's super exciting. This is just another race, like, getting the win is so special. I mean, it's such a big race. It's so special, super unique, so it's awesome to be able to win it. And after two years of 2 second places, I feel like it was about time, you know?
I'm, like, super happy about it. I've totally been in the crowds before and cheering everybody on, so it just makes me super happy to just be in it and see everybody cheering me on.
And as we progress throughout the day, we're on to the highly anticipated women's race, which has seen 4 different winners in each of the last 4 years.
So many different stories, but at the end of the day, it was Claire Rhodes taking that crown. And really, Jordan, I think she had this one in the bag from the moment she got above the tree line.
Yeah, she really ran a tactical masterpiece on the mountain today. It seemed like she didn't miss a step as she ran, hiked, and slid her way to another victory, making light work of that snow at the top of the mountain, which we knew would be a factor.
You know, when I first went up there in training a few weeks ago, I pretty much stand up there paralyzed with fear. I have to get over that and tell myself to just not think and just go. So that was my plan, to just like sit, slide, do whatever I needed to do to make it as fast as possible.
That leads us into the final run of the day, and arguably the most exciting one were the fans in attendance. David Norris going for his 6th title and a record potentially on the line in the men's race.
Yeah, and he's really in a league of his own, running against himself as he, aims to break his own records. And although we didn't see that today, we did see him go 6 for 6 like Michael Jordan in the finals. 6 entries, 6 victories for the Fairbanks Mountain Runner as he continues to build his Mount Marathon legacy.
I feel like every year I race, the more I learn about the tradition here and all the people that did it before us, and it's very cool just to be, part of this big historic race.
Well, that'll do it for our coverage of Mount Marathon 2025. Reporting from Seward, Jordan Rodenberger.
Tyler Lane, Alaska's news source.
Well, some Seattle Seahawks and beloved mascot Blitz will be making an appearance in communities across Alaska this week, part of their Impacting 50 Communities tour, celebrating the Seahawks' 50th season. Here's a look at where you can catch them this week. Tomorrow, they'll be in Juneau giving away free shoes at the Zach Gordon Youth Center. Then in Anchorage on Wednesday, they'll be doing that same thing at the Boys and Girls Club on Muldoon. On Thursday, they'll be in Wasilla giving away sandwiches and free summer meals to youth at Kids Cupboard and the Wasilla Library. And they'll return to Anchorage Friday, where they'll be volunteering at the Food Bank of Alaska.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcasts from Alaska's news source automatically, and stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.